All right. Well, nice small group. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for being here and spending some time together with us today. I'm Joy Brand Richardson. I know most of you on the screen. I'm the Vice President of Professional Development at JCC Association. I use the pronouns she and her, and I have shoulder-length brown hair. Today I'm wearing a red top and glasses, and it's a beautiful day here. I live in Delaware. The sun is out, nice and bright. I hope it's nice where you are. I'm joined by my colleague Sawyer Schwartz, who's going to help us with tech. He's part of our talent team. And today's meeting is a little different. I started to say before that this somehow date snuck up on us. Paul Lurie, the chairperson of this group, is not able to join us. And some people had suggested canceling, but I didn't really want to have too much time pass between meetings. So I decided to host the meeting, and I'm glad that all of you are here. JCC, as you know, JCC Association is a convener and a connector for all of you who work in the field. And we often hear from people who say, even though you planned a great conference, the best part is learning an informal conversation from people in the hallways. So we're going to give you some of that chat time, even though we're not in a hallway at a conference. There may be some people who are new to their role or here joining us for the first time, and there's plenty of people on the call today that have lots of experience, and each of us comes to these conversations. You bring wisdom and knowledge with you. We ask everyone to participate in conversations, approach each other with respect, and ask for clarity if you require it. So we're going to, in a few minutes, we're going to go into breakout rooms, but I wanted to share with you some of the things that we've been doing around peer communities, because you, as the number 2 and 3 seats in the JCC, you have connections to so many of the staff that work at your JCC. So since we started peer communities, we've had over 750 individual unique users of peer communities. I'm hoping that you're encouraging your staff to join those peer communities that are relevant to them. We have over a dozen different options. And there's 2 new communities that are just starting. The aquatics community held their first meeting last month. They had over 60 people on the call. It was a great meeting. And so that group is up and running. And then adults is a new community, and we've been focusing a lot on adults. We had a pop-up session with the Active Aging Network last month, also with almost 75 different people on the call, talking about what does aging look like in your community, and understanding that it's not about ages, but it's about stages, and how are we thinking about these new adults that are coming into retirement, and what are the things that they're looking to do. The other interesting thing around adults is that it's such a broad span. And so the adult peer community is starting on Thursday, and they're going to talk about what is the focus of their JCC's adult department. Is it frail elderly, or is it the active younger adults, or middle of that span adults who really want to not be thought of as older adults? And the membership peer community met yesterday. They don't yet have a chairperson, although I have 2 people who are interested in being the chairs. And yesterday when I was with them, I started with a few slides, and I wanted to show you those slides. They are focusing more on the adult community and also on fitness, because those 2 are going hand in hand right now. So I wanted to share these couple of things with you all. And I'm not sure if you're going to see my whole screen or which part of it, but Sawyer and I tried to play with this yesterday. It didn't quite work. I'm just going to leave it where it is. So with a 3 to 4% annual fitness industry growth over the past 10 years, 20% of Americans currently have a fitness club membership. And that's according to IHRSA, the International Health, Racquet, and Sports Association. The interesting piece is that in the next 10 to 15 years, this percentage of Americans with fitness club memberships is expected to double. So what does that mean for our JCCs if people interested in fitness club memberships is expected to double? How might we think about getting our share of those people who are interested and ready to, whether they're the newly retired or the more active aging folks? The other thing that I thought was interesting, also according to IHRSA, here's the groupings of who are the largest groupings of people who hold fitness club memberships. So the millennials, 1980 to 1999, are the 33% of gym memberships. The next up is the next gens, the Gen Xers, born between 65 and 79. And then the baby boomers are right in there with 22%. They were born between 1945 and 1964. So if you take a look at those two groups, Gen X and baby boomers, that's 46% of gym memberships in those two categories. And I'm thinking that we should be starting to really think about what are we doing for these active aging people as they look to do more fitness things. The last slide I wanted to show you is this really interesting slide from the Archives of Gerontology and Geriatrics. So this was a survey done on Japanese adults, and they surveyed almost 4,500 people. And what they looked for was figuring out people who exercise with others have a lower risk of cognitive impairment. Interesting. So the participants who exercised 2 or more times a week with other people showed a lower risk of developing cognitive impairment than those who exercised alone. So as we start to think about who are our active aging folks, how are we looking to get that piece of the pie, so to speak, of them joining our fitness centers and our classes, and how are we getting them engaged in more things that are more together? We know that humans are social animals and they like to be together. So those, I thought I'd bring those 2 interesting points to you. Anybody have any comments or thoughts about any of those things? What are you doing at your J to attract people, older adults? Marley?
I was just going to say, can you share those slides with us?
I certainly can.
Thank you.
Yeah. Is anybody thinking about the active aging group and are you doing anything specific for them?
We're also keeps coming back to pickleball. Pickleball. It's all about pickleball.
And you have an amazing pickleball leader in Barbara there. So
We
I
most
get
definitely do.
Yes. But there's
Yeah, I think we've been thinking about this also, and in our county, they just issued like some kind of a proclamation or something that they also want to they kind of, I can't remember exactly the words that they used, but it was something about loneliness being like a health crisis in the county. And so I don't know what that means in terms of any initiatives or dollars or what that means, but just even the fact that there's this acknowledgement that loneliness continues to be a problem, and it tends to be a problem for aging people who become more isolated. So I love this idea. And we are always thinking about what we're doing for adults, because it just seems to be such a, large percentage of our population that are members tend to be, definitely in that demographic that you just pointed out. But it's a tough crowd because for the most part, baby boomers don't even want to hear the word aging or older or so it's very hard to reach that demographic with messages that don't seem to turn them away. So I'm always curious about how do we even refer to this? Active aging, they don't want that. Healthy aging, they don't want that. Anything that has the word age in it seems to be, or old. Age or old, it's just not them, even if they're 80.
We had
It's
to
so
take
true.
out of everything.
What was that, Betsy?
We took silver, the word silver, out of everything. They're not happy with silver. Right.
Right. When we meet on Thursday with the adult group, I've been calling it adults. In our files, in our master file at JCC Association, it's still called older adults, but it's really adults, the big span. But we had a task force recently of 10 adult directors, and they said also, like, take out older, take out senior, take out silver. We're really looking at that pre-retirement, into retirement, and then the active folks. I know that some JCCs run frail elderly and lunch programs, and then you sit and you listen to a lecture afterwards and those kinds of things. But these active folks that we're trying to address don't want that. So
No, they don't. And so those programs, you know, we do have people showing up for them, but they're in their 80s and 90s at this point. You know, they're really old. So, and new people aren't interested in that. And so we're trying to figure out, like, how do we get you know, people in their 70s, 60s and 70s to feel like they're part of a community here.
right. Anybody else have any thoughts on this?
We've tried adding socials to a social element to everything, like an intentional social, not kind of the organic kind. We always have like beverages after our tennis social or the pickleball social, and to just try and boost response and interaction and joy, so that they don't see the activity as like a workout or just healthy. It's actually engagement and enjoyment, enrichment, and by throwing food at it, seems to have made it more popular.
Yeah, that's good.
We also went toward more outside things like a hiking club and a supper club and different things, taking them outside of the JCC to get a different group of people engaged, and then hope that they'll then come to other programs inside of the JCC.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, because they're still very active, and that's, I
Exactly.
think, you know, it's interesting. Maybe a dozen years ago or 20 years ago, we thought of the three pillars that hold up the JCC as camp and fitness and early childhood. And now we have to add that fourth, which is really adults.
Yeah.
And, you know, they're going to be driving the funding, and they're going to be our donors in future years. They're going to be our participants. Like Lael said, you know, like the older adults are 80 and 90, and eventually they're not going to be there. So who's going to take that place of that kind of programming, and how might we convene them? So that's something to think about.
We actually keep on getting complaints, and it's from staff as well as younger members, that pickleball literally like takes over our agency at different times. And all I keep on telling my staff is, these are the people who are coming into our agency with money that are able to pay for the other things that we like. One pickleball player became a huge donor, and it was because he was here, and it was a vibrant place, and everybody wants to come to a vibrant place that's happening, that you get sold out of. And pickleball is that for us. So we need to continue with it. We need to figure out how to make more time for basketball for the younger members, but at the same time, we need to keep pickleball where it is and like engage them in other ways through that. So it's our constant struggle.
Mhm. That's true. So I thought that I saw the two topics that were hot on the listserv. One was security. Everybody's dealing with security, and the other one was staff recruitment. So I'm going to give you a little bit of time. You can choose which room you want to go into and have a smaller discussion with whoever's in that room on one of those two topics. And we'll give you about, I don't know, 20 minutes or so in that room. Share what you're doing on either one of those topics, and then we'll come back and we'll have a chat again as the larger group. So Sawyer's going to give you an option. You'll see it on your screen. You can pick which room you want to go to. Just click join and you'll be swept into that room. If you need help moving, we can help you move.
Generational employment expectations, and some of the challenges with bringing in new, younger managers, and how to, you know, Josh had some, I'd say he's probably dealt with this a lot because he has a younger staff, and so he was talking about, you know, how to elicit feedback, some good suggestions there on, engaging staff in the conversation, even if we can't necessarily meet everybody's demands. So we talked about that. And then very briefly at the end, we were talking a little bit about how the conflict or the war in Gaza is potentially impacting our staff, whether, we have staff that are expressing, pro-Palestinian feelings or, not wanting to work in an organization that's Zionist or, so we had a pretty brief conversation about that as well. And seems to be like some regional differences there and concerns about camp because it also seems to be a generational issue.
All important topics, that's for sure. In the Marin Fellows, we were talking about some of that as it relates to camp, overnight camp, day camp, counselors. Yep, that's hard. Anybody want to add anything to that? How about the other room? Talking about security, which bleeds into that other part of who was in the security room.
Sure. I can say something though.
Thanks, John.
So we kind of jumped around a little bit, but we did talk about security as in training, how frequent we train and who does kind of the training. We talked about the security grants that are, sweeping the nation and of what's out there and what we're kind of doing with them. Whether we're redoing some of the work that we've done in the past or upgrading current facilities for that. We talked about, I brought up about using AI cameras and as our defense primarily versus armed security. And we talked about regular security, armed security. How people use the security, whether it's agencies or in-house type of thing. So it was a little bit of a mishmash of things, whether it's facilities or the people that are doing security. And I brought up the use of AI security cameras for the future of security.
Great. Anybody want to add something, Marley?
I have a question. What are AI security cameras? That's a
So-
question, I'm sorry.
So AI security cameras, I was saying, we work with a Israeli company, Amitos, that actually they have a command center in Israel, and the AI cameras are all set around license plate readers, facial recognition. They mark the cars as they come in, day and time that they come in, how many cars come in. They mark the faces, and any behavioral movements in anybody that's coming around. If there's an area that really shouldn't have people there, the camera is it's basically a smart camera. It says, hey, something is not right here. Command center takes a look at it, shoots a team of people here a picture of whatever the incident or the situation is, and says, someone can take a look at this. If you have a car that's marked, I was mentioning a situation here, Freeburg, that, letting a staff member go and it wasn't that pleasant. We marked the car, monitoring behavior. With just recently, pulled down, turned a corner and his car got pinged. Our friends from Israel send us all a picture and a message at this time. This is what's going on. So the person, before they even got down a driveway, we already knew they were here, and we knew to look out for whatever the situation is. We put in family pictures of people in our system that don't belong here, custody battles, whatever it is, it's in there, so we can ping a person's face or a car or vehicle. So we kind of see what's going on. We always try to we want to be preventative versus after the fact for things. So the goal is to be more preventative. So that's been massive for us, and it's been amazing. Like it's the background, and we had a problem with the person. We said, here's a staff member, this is an issue. Gave them the picture and put it on there. And within 20 minutes, they actually came back with a whole report on this person, their social media posts of 20 different accounts that they had. And it was just like, okay, wait a minute, this is a little scary that this company was able to do all of that. And been amazing. Like it's been so much better. People just, I'm getting alerts of, a group of kids, the building's closed down and there's a bunch of kids in the parking lot, like all times, 24 hours, 7 days a week, it's operating. So that's been our biggest difference versus having a security person sit during different times and they're walking around or they're looking at the cameras, but then they're not. This is eyes in the sky 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And they alert our team, and it's been amazing, and they're only gonna probably grow, so I'm sure you guys will probably all hear them sooner or later.
How long have you had this?
We've now been in year, I wanna say year three, so our first, we were the first of the pilot for this. So the first year was trial and error, what works, what doesn't. The second year was pretty good, and now this year is in full swing with everything, like, cars being marked, not being marked. We could blacklist whatever we want in there, and at this point, actually writing reports of how many vehicles are coming in every day. I have the amount of vehicles, I have the amount of people that are coming in. Everyone has their membership when they scan and who's coming in. This is telling me how many bodies are coming in and out. So, that's been amazing, like completely. I swear by it that I'm adding it to all of our sites, very soon, because, again, if it's working here with people who we know don't belong and it's pinging that gives us a heads up, because, how many people have heard the stories of you let this person go or this parent shouldn't be here and they're hanging around, you hear like a day or two after. This is like not that. This is, they are here now. What are you doing?
And those are different than the Evolve scanners?
Yes. So this is it actually, in some ways it's easier to do, because they really take a lot of general, what you basically have already, and it turns them into AI through an AI box and whatnot. So
So
it's
it's
like,
more software than hardware.
it's more software than hardware, which makes it a lot easier for anyone who is, already have 40 to 60 cameras. You're not replacing anything. You're
Yeah.
just, you already have it. So it's just taking what you have and spitting out the information.
What was the name of the product?
Well, the name of the company is Amitos, and the product that they use is a variation. It's kind of a variation of their own stuff, plus mixed with some whatever stuff you kind of have. So it's kind of a combo.
That's
But
great.
it's a very, very, very good investment in terms of it, low cost, because it takes what you have. I mean, that's kind of what it sold me. It was like, okay,
Yeah,
I'm not
that's the barrier for
rebuying
sure, is the
everything.
cost.
So now it's
Could
just
you
saying,
email like a link to their website or something?
sure,
or put it in
I'll
the
get
chat,
their
maybe?
information. Yes.
Yeah, you could pop it in the chat if you have their
Yep, I'll get it for you.
yeah. And we can all take a trip to Long Island. Marley, you're the closest. We can all take a trip to Long Island and see it working.
Yeah, they're actually in Brooklyn today. They're looking at doing another project in Brooklyn. So they flew in from Israel this morning. Well, their afternoon, our morning. So they were here, and they're doing a few. I think they're doing. I want to say something in Manhattan as well. They're working on a project there. So there was talks through through Federation, actually through CSI Federation, of possibly getting more, especially on Long Island, to get involved, because if we have shared people who don't belong, that we could essentially put that, plate or picture across all of Long Island, and we could say this person is a known problem. we know that this person has, been in, one part of Long Island versus the other, because, we've encountered that as well, where people who don't belong. And so we've had talks of sharing database and things like that through CSI. So,
Great.
yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. We're joined by my colleague Gennady, who works for the experience team, and he's going to unmute himself and tell us a little bit about some of the things that they're doing for our staff.
Hi, everybody. So my name is Gennady. You probably recognize my name from the briefs that you get, and hopefully you read them as well. So one of the initiatives that we recently started is onboarding sessions for new staff at JCCs. Now these sessions are open to everybody, but they're meant for staff at JCCs. And basically, it's a series of 2 sessions. The first one being sort of a foundational session about JCC movement, JCC association, sort of high level stuff about the different programs and initiatives the JCC association runs. And then the second session is run by my department, which talks more about the different tools and the way you can find resources and network with folks in the JCC movement. I'm going to share a link here to the page that describes this initiative. And I'm seeing that the next series starts in April. So the first session is on April 2nd, and the second one is April 11th. You'll see the links right there. There's also recordings of the sessions that we did in the beginning of this year. The content is pretty much going to be the same that we did. So if somebody can't attend, they can watch those recordings. But we do encourage you to send your newer staff here, or if you feel somebody who hasn't on your staff hasn't really had an opportunity to learn about the tools that we have or is not familiar with them, please do send them the link so they can register for these sessions. And if there's any questions, I'm sure you have my email. Please feel free to connect with me anytime. Thank you for this opportunity.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. And the other thing we wanted to remind you is that JCC Association has a scholarship program that is available for people who are either looking to get continuing education courses, or any kind of certificate programs or graduate school. And so we have funds up to $20,000 for graduate school. So if you know any of your staff that are interested in going to school, or some of the early childhood folks who need CEUs or something like that, let them know about the scholarship program. The application is open now, and I think it'll be open through the beginning of May. And so that's for funds. Betsy, you have a question?
I wanted to make a comment when you were done.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have a new supervisor who is participating in the Blessings of the Workforce program. And she absolutely loves it. And she has learned so much from it. So I just wanted to plug it for anybody else who's looking for kind of like a shorter term program that GCC Association offers. It's been really good for her.
Thank you. That's great. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Keep reading the briefs. Make sure your staff read the briefs, because there's lots of good information, both what we do at JCC Association and what others in the Jewish community are doing. And we appreciate you being here. Thanks so much for having some time to spend together. And
Bye, everybody.
talk to you soon. Take care. Thanks, John.